Vandals vanquished. The Cougars walked all over Idaho for the win, but not without having a few ribs broken first.
Freezing fans, temperatures are dropping and giving Cougar fanatics a good reason to bring a cuddle buddy to the football game.
And Scout Squad will meet the players that worked behind the scenes to help BYU basketball team get ready for game day. I'm Brianna Carr.
And I'm Brooke Davis. Huddle up, it's time for the Tube. Weekend, true blue Cougar football fans showed the love. Idaho was in town and it was absolutely freezing.
The Vandals should be used to this weather by now. Moscow, Idaho is usually 10 degrees or more colder than Provo is at any point in time. But a late start in freezing weather didn't stop Cougar faithful from pouring into Lavelle Edwards Stadium for the second to last home game of the season. Their hands were cold, but by the end of the game, their hearts were very warm. First drive capped off by Riley Nelson going deep to Cody Hoffman. That would be a touchdown. That would be the end of the game for Riley. He made an early exit to the hospital after a chest injury. Riley's got to be careful with those abs. You know what that means. Jake Heaps to the rescue, but please don't call it a comeback. Next drive, he takes the team 78 yards, and Brian Correa finished it off in style with a 17-yard touchdown run. There he is. Not to be outdone, Mr. Timpview himself, Michael Elisa, takes the pigskin 38 yards for 6 more. Cougs up 28-0, but by the second half, freshman Jordan Johnson adding to the Vandals' misery with his second interception this season. And here comes the classic Heaps to Apple we all remember. The Vandals eased their pain with a breakaway touchdown. BYU walked away with an easy-cheesy 42-7 victory.
BYU is playing musical quarterbacks this season, and it seems Riley Nelson has lost this round. Nelson broke 2 ribs, which collapsed a lung during the Idaho game. He may be down, but Coach Mendenhall was glad to report he isn't out.
They're listing a 4-week recovery at this point, and that's plus or minus. So normally when they give those times, it's conservative in nature. One of the issues will be anytime there's a lung injury with extended air travel, that adds increased risk.
If Riley can make it to Hawaii, whether by plane or by boat, Bronco confirmed that he still has the starting QB job.
The New Mexico State Aggies come into town to take on the Cougars in BYU's home finale tomorrow night. CougTube reporter Sean Gordon takes a look at the improved Aggies and what the Cougars need to do to walk away with a win on senior night.
It's a gridiron graduation party for some of the Cougars, and they'll look to go out in style. But the Aggies have momentum coming off their shootout win against Fresno State last week. For the Cougars, it's all about balance. BYU has had more than 200 yards, both rushing and passing, in each of their last 5 wins. It's also a second chance for Jake Heaps, who's back at starting quarterback. Heaps had a solid performance against Idaho after taking over for an injured Riley Nelson, and he'll look to carry that momentum into this matchup. On the other side of the ball, the defense will have its hands full with the Aggies' high-octane offense.
Very explosive offensively with speed and athleticism at running back, receiver, and a mobile quarterback. Kind of a wide-open style and up-tempo.
That explosive offense is led by wide receiver and kick returner Tavian Rogers, but running back Kenny Turner and dual-threat quarterback Matt Christian are no slouches either. The Aggies are soft defensively, though, so the Cougars should score plenty of points. And if BYU's surprisingly stingy pass defense can keep the Aggies' aerial attack grounded, the Cougars will send the seniors out happy. On campus, Sean Gordon, CougTube.
It's also a homecoming for Aggie head coach Dwayne Walker, who knows BYU very well. He coached the cornerbacks for the Cougars back in 1994. Last time he was welcomed back to Cougar Town, it was a 59-0 blowout, and he was coaching for UCLA.
Tomorrow night will be the last time BYU football seniors get to sink their feet into the luscious Lavelle Edwards grass. The 19 seniors will be honored for their contributions to the team at halftime during tomorrow's game. All will be missed, but can't wait to see what the Cougs can do post BYU possibly playing on Sundays.
BYU to the Big East, you've heard the rumors. And while nothing is official yet, head coach Bronco Mendenhall confirmed last week that there is a big push to have them join the Big East. The Cougars would be part of the new West Wing, which officials are hoping will include BYU, Air Force, and Boise State for football only, and SMU, Houston, and UCF for all other sports. It's mid-November, so this week's game will mean goosebump weather with a chance of white misery. CougTube reporter Devin Dewey braved the cold to show you what best ways to avoid football frostbite.
Freezing football weather is officially here. Temperatures are down in the 30s and the blankets are coming out. You're going to need more than just a light jacket to survive Saturday night. BYU grad Drew Smith has traded the mountains of Provo for the frozen tundra of Green Bay and knows all the survival tricks for cold weather.
Well, for keeping warm in those really cold games, layering, at least 4 to 5 different layers. You can always take one off if you start to get a little bit too hot.
For all that proper layering, you're going to need boots, a coat, gloves, hat, scarf, and more of the same. You should look about like this after you get all those clothes on. And most importantly, don't forget the hot chocolate.
Just wearing a hat, you know, keeping your head and ears warm. I think that's the most important part for me.
If you're wearing all those layers and still getting cold, there is one more strategy you could try.
Hey, make sure you have somebody you love sitting next to you. You bring a blanket, put your arm around them. That's the best way to stay warm at a football game, that's for sure.
Being bitterly cold is miserable, so make sure you come prepared with the right clothes or the right snuggle buddy for the next football game. At Lavelle Edwards Stadium, Devin Dewey, CougTube.
I'm not going to give you the entire forecast for game time, but let's just say you should start thinking about those layers. Chantel will be here later on with your game day weather forecast.
When CougTube returns, behind the scenes, take a look at the players you don't see on the court and how they help the players you do see.
And Marriott Makeover, the basketball arena looks a little different on Tuesday mornings. We'll show you what it takes to get it that way. Stay with us.
Recovering from last week's game against Utah State, the BYU men's basketball team was able to celebrate after their home opener against BYU Hawaii on Tuesday night. The Cougs unveiled their Mountain West Conference Championship banner to start the game off, and it only got better from there. Junior Brandon Davies started off the night right, and he stayed on fire for the remainder of the game, scoring 12 of BYU's first 17 points. Davies led the players in scoring from the field and added 9 rebounds to the mix as well. He's back basketball lovers, spin moves and all, and Davies proves he can jump too, hurdling the bench to keep the ball in play. He scored a career high of 25 points in the game, ultimately leading the Cougars to victory. Noah Hartsock made his fair share of contributions as well, scoring 14 points with 9 rebounds, finishing BYU's night with a score of 73-52. The Seasiders may have taken a beating by the Cougs, but that didn't stop groups of red from flooding the Marriott Center in support of our brothers from the islands.
I left BYU Hawaii about a year ago, so I still know a couple players on the team, and so just a good opportunity to meet up with everybody.
Still BYU Hawaii fan. There's lots of us out here. People are coming from Farnsburg and Centerville to from Salt Lake and everywhere tonight just to watch the Seasiders.
Tonight, there's something brand new in store for the Cougars and their fans. It's the first ever matchup against the Longwood Lancers. The Lancers made quite the trek from Virginia to Utah, and they're coming armed. Senior center Antoine Carter is arriving to the tune of over 17 points and 13 rebounds a game this year, but BYU's not shaking too hard. Center Brandon Davies is coming fresh off a career-high 25 points against BYU Hawaii and hopes to keep that momentum. Tip-off is at 7 o'clock tonight at the Marriott Center. How would it feel to put in all the work without receiving any glory? CougTube reporter Blake Tillotson credits the part of the men's basketball team that normally goes under the radar.
Even though the scout squad doesn't get to dress on game day, they work just as hard as any other guy on the team to help prepare for their next opponent.
Every week we meet with them, we kind of put a new plan into their head, and they are, for that preparation time, they're basically emulating the team we're playing.
Long before the Cougars starting 5 take the court, a different 5 guys prepare off the court.
Every day before practice, we'll come in and learn whether it's just like a couple of plays or some couple of out-of-bounds plays, go over it in coach's office on the whiteboard.
Each week, they're given a new assignment and asked to mimic their opponent's style of play.
I get to be loose. I get to do whatever I want pretty much. So makes me push myself better because I want to be like that person, different aspects to my game.
You know, it's actually kind of fun. I mean, you get to learn, I got today or the next few days before this game, I'm going to work on being this player, and then when I go back to being myself, that kind of stuff might carry over and make me a better player overall anyway.
And even though there aren't any fans in the stands to see them play, that doesn't mean they're not appreciated.
And what we try to do as coaches is get this scout team to perform at the same pace, the same rhythm, the same speed and physicality of the team we're going to play. So they play a huge role for us.
And one day, it'll be their day.
It's not my opportunity right now, it'll be later, but I'm just here for the ride and ready to practice for my teammates.
BYU fans will appreciate the Scout Squad when they see walk-on Craig Cusick play a key role in tonight's game. After a few years of hard work, it's finally time for Cusick to run the point. Brooke?
The women's basketball team went toe-to-toe with number 8 Duke last weekend. After all the straws were drawn, the Cougs came up a little short. The defense showed up early for both teams, but Parker's three-pointer from the corner got the Cougars on the board. She kept them rolling with a jumper that tied it at 5. The fans were loud at them, and the Marriott Center was hopping, 2,500 fans to be exact. The largest home crowd since the Cougars played UConn in the 08-09 season. Steve DeParker feed the hot hand, but down the stretch, Duke was just too much to handle for the Cougars. And one there, and Chelsea Gray, 3 in your face. BYU fought hard but lost the game 61-55. The Lady Cougars also fell to Kansas State on Wednesday. Next up on the list for the Cougars is Weber State tomorrow night at 7 p.m. at the D Event Center.
If you've ever watched a forum or devotional at BYU, you know that the Marriott Center looks nothing like the rock and basketball arena it is on game nights. CougTube reporter Christina Silly takes us behind the scenes of the seamless transition from pulpit to three-point line.
As soon as devotional ends on Tuesday, some Marriott Center magicians go to work.
Well, there's usually at least 3 supervisors, and we have about anywhere between 12 to 15 students. And we have an hour to try to get ready for the first basketball practice.
The crew takes down the chairs, risers, and the podium and puts them in storage rooms on the first floor of the Marriott Center.
We have to strike all the devotionals, set up, pull up the tarp, and then we have to turn around and put in 2 baskets, get them set for the game, and we have to put in risers on both sides of the floor.
When they prep for a game, they also have to bring out phone lines and power cords, anything the press and the scorers table will need.
Typical week, we have, it'll be set up for basketball on Monday for basketball practice, and then Tuesday morning we have to strike everything from basketball and change it over to devotional. And then after devotional, we have an hour to change from devotional to get ready for basketball practice again.
Sheffield estimates that on average, they change the setup of the Marriott Center 15 times a month. That's almost 200 times a year.
Because of their efforts, people can bow and pray and rise and shout all in the same day. At the Marriott Center, Christina Seeley, CougTube.
So next time you're at the devotional, hang around for a few minutes to see how quickly they go to work to set up the court.
When CougTube returns, senior send-off. The Lady Spikers look to bounce back from a home loss and end on a high note to finish their BYU careers at the Fieldhouse.
And Popcorn Poppin' will show you the game day treat that keeps football fans wanting more. We'll be right back. The women's volleyball team plays their last home game at 1 tomorrow afternoon against conference foe Portland Pilots. Everyone is invited to come cheer on the seniors in their last appearance in the Smith Fieldhouse, as well as try to make up for their tough loss against Gonzaga last night. Our Cougars won the first set but couldn't keep up the stamina and eventually fell to the Zags in 4 sets. BYU started strong, winning the first set 28-26 with an impressive digs by Kendall and Hartsock and great kills by Christy Carpenter. Unfortunately, their fire dimmed in the second set, losing middle blocker Catherine Lecheminat to an injury just as Gonzaga turned up the heat. The Lady Zags won sets 2, 3, and 4 to take the match and increase their conference record to 2-14, while the BYU Cougs sit at 9-6.
The cross-country team had the pleasure of running in the cold at the NCAA regional meet, but they made it look easy. The men cruised to a victory, beating out 16 other teams to become the Mountain Region champions. They were led by, you guessed it, Miles Batty. Senior Morgan Haas led the women to a 4th place finish. Both teams head out to Indiana State for the national meet on Monday. As if being regional champ wasn't good enough, Batty was named Mountain Region Athlete of the Year. The Sandy native is one of the best runners in the country right now and could lead the men to their first ever national team title. We'll keep our fingers crossed. Coach Ed Eyestone, the man behind the victories, was named Mountain Region Coach of the Year. 9 other Cougars also received all-region honors.
The BYU baseball team is trading in Provo's snowy mountains for the sandy beaches of the Dominican Republic. The team is hitting up the island to play against some tough Major League farm teams. But this trip's not all about baseball. The players and coaches are visiting some of the poorer DR communities to drop off hygiene kits, put on a big baseball clinic, and host 2 firesides. The BYU swim team is diving right into the California OBS Arena Invitational going on in Long Beach. Races continue throughout today and tomorrow, but the Cougar men have already placed in the top 5 of the 200-yard medley relay in the A heat, less than a second behind the cadets of Air Force Academy and the Hawaiian Warriors. This is the last competition for the Cougars before heading to sunny San Diego for their annual Christmas training.
Thought cheer wasn't competitive? Don't tell that to Whitney Wanacott. The BYU cheerleader and CougTube contributor is the 2011 Sideline Spirit Award winner. The senior won a $1,000 scholarship for herself and $2,000 for the cheer squad. Wanacott won by fan votes and is the first ever winner from BYU.
When CougTube comes back, Cougar Corn. LaVell Edwards Stadium is home to more than just great football. We'll look at one tasty treat that keeps fans full.
And you might want to plan on getting some hot chocolate at the game tomorrow. It's looking like a wet and cold weekend. I'll give you the details when 11 game time weather returns.
Sounds like it's going to be a little chilly at tomorrow's game, but LaVell Edwards Stadium isn't just cold cement and bleachers. CougTube reporter Brittany Goods shows us what's warm and delicious on game day.
It's hot, salty, and sweet, and football fans can't get enough of it.
I love it. It's really good. It's a tradition. Love to buy it. And it's crunchy. The kernels are big and fluffy. It's really good.
Hot Poppin' Kettle Corn has been serving their sweet treat to BYU fans for the last 4 years, and all of that goodness is made right here at the stadium.
We bring in the popcorn and the oil. We pop it in our kettle. We have one guy, that's what he does the whole game, is just trying to keep up, popping kettle corn. You put in the oil, then you put in the popcorn. The oil gets hot, pops the popcorn, you put in the sugar, and when you put in the sugar at that point, it pops and it infuses the sugar into the popcorn.
Each home game, they make 1,300 bags. That's 1,000 pounds of kettle corn.
Making all that kettle corn isn't just hard work. It's also lots of fun.
I love when the popcorn just explodes and you're whipping your arms everywhere, and it's a blast. It's a lot of fun. Once you get the techniques down, it's a blast.
And that's the scoop from Gate 5. At LaVell Edwards Stadium, Brittany Good, CougTube.
So game time tonight's 8:15. I'm a little worried it's going to be too cold.
It's going to be freezing
Chantal,
tomorrow.
I'm not even going. I'm not going to the game.
Oh, you know what?
I hope they have a good senior night, but it's too cold for me. I'm in my pajamas with a hot chocolate.
Yeah, I'm watching it on TV. PJs, slippers.
Sounds smart.
Allie, if you're going though, you can have some of that popcorn.
I will be going. I might have to get some popcorn.
Awesome. Well, taking a look outside right now, it's pretty cloudy out there. And you know what? We're just going to be seeing an increase of clouds as the day continues. We do have our cold front on our doorstep. It'll be marching through the state. And right now, you know what? It's about 52 degrees outside, so pretty nice. By this time tomorrow, we're going to be looking at this temperature, seeing like, wow, this is really warm compared to what we're seeing tomorrow. And humidity is about 40%, wind speeds at 7. Those winds will be picking up as the cold front starts moving in. And we actually do have a winter weather advisory in effect for much of northern Utah. It'll be starting from 4 p.m. tonight until noon tomorrow. And we will be seeing about 1 to 3 inches in the valleys, 2 to 5 inches in the benches. Now, the farther north you go, the more snow you're going to be seeing. Here in Provo, we have been pretty lucky the past couple storms. We haven't really had any snow sticking to the ground for our Cougar team out there. But by the time 8:15 at LaVell Edwards Stadium, it's going to be pretty cloudy. Most of those snow showers should be out by that point. We will be seeing most of the snow during the nighttime hours. But like the temperature 33 degrees, and with a wind speed at 10 miles per hour, we're just going to be having a lot of wind chills. So make sure you guys are bundling up out there. Bring some hot cocoa because it is going to be downright cold. Now, taking a look at our sat map right now, here's the front. It's actually just right here at the border of Utah and Idaho. It'll be starting to move through. This whole thing, that's the entire storm. It'll be coming in, and so it's not really going to be affecting Utah southern Utah very much. We're going to be seeing just mostly clouds roll through, and for northern Utah, well, I'm sorry, but you guys, we're just going to be sticking with snow for the next few days. Back to you.
And now it's time for everyone's favorite part of the show, predictions. Last week's game against Idaho was, well, it was freezing. But who cares, because there's one more on the win column for everybody. Brooke is making a comeback on the reporters. They're tied at 15-5. Thanks to the Oregon upset over Stanford last week, there was just no luck in that game for me. I'm doing all right with my 12-8 record, and Chantel, well, Chantel is struggling a little bit. This week's games are our own Cougars versus New Mexico State, and everybody is rooting for the home team, as they should. And Michigan is taking on Nebraska in the Big House. Everybody thinks they'll come away with a win, except for me.
Okay, so I finally caught up with the reporters and feeling good about that. I'm hoping that the Wolverines can pull out a big win against Nebraska in the Big House. Why did you guys pick Michigan, though? I'm from Ann Arbor, so I love the Wolverines.
To be honest, my husband's a fan of Michigan, and so he's like, just make sure you choose him. I'm like, all right, sounds good.
What about you, Blake?
Well, both teams are 8-2. So they're pretty evenly matched, but Michigan's going to pull this one off in the end, like they have in the past.
I believe in the Cornhuskers, and I think it's easy enough to say that we're going to beat the Aggies. It'll be a good senior night, for our team. Definitely no struggles here, unfortunately, for New Mexico State. I'm sorry, they're just not that big of an opponent.
That's Coug 2 for Friday, November 18th.
If you want another look at the stories we did today or share with your friends, check out CougTube section of our website, ElevenNEWS.BYU.edu.
Thanks for joining us. Have a great afternoon, and go Cougs.